I saw a really interesting stat. Let me share it with you. Only 24% of global workers feel confident they have the skills needed for career advancement. It's crazy. I can't believe 24% of people, only 24% of people feel confident. Because, there's obviously been like the AI thing's clearly been crazy. And it seems to have been like accelerating at like an incredible pace. I was speaking to someone the other day and they want to transition careers. So they've been applying for jobs. Now, if you're transitioning, kind of generally people are trying to move to a different sector, right? So trying to position yourself and apply for jobs where AI is doing the first screening, and before you even get to a human, it's very unlikely that you're even going to get invited to an interview. So there's a lot of things that one needs to do to make sure that they position themselves in the right way. And I've written down 3 amazing things that you need to do to position yourself in the right way, whether you're transitioning career, whether you want to like advance your career, whether you want to get that next leadership role. Really, really important. And there's 3 big things. So number 1 for me, stay informed. Sounds simple. The amount of people I speak with in very senior positions or wherever they are in the workforce, and they're just not aware of what's going on in their sector, globally, AI trends, amount of people that haven't even like utilized some of these tools available like ChatGPT, Gemini, Anthropic. Most people can't even tell you the 3 largest language models. They couldn't tell you use cases. I mean, it's crazy. So there's no excuse, and it's so easy to stay informed now. You can literally jump on your best AI tool. Most of them have even like voice to text, and you could be like, hey, ChatGPT, give me like the top 5 biggest trends this year, or, what's the news, something like that. I mean, there's just no excuse not to know what's going on. So stay informed, macro, and then also micro, like what's going on in your industry. What are some of the things that are going on? What are some of the trends? Do you know, like, if you're transitioning, do you know what the 10 fastest growing jobs are right now? Did you read the World Economic Forum's report on 2030 fastest growing jobs? Just kind of dive into all of that stuff. One of the things right now, and even the last few years, is this, the information is so easily available now. It's not difficult to find stuff. It's not difficult to stay informed. It's not difficult to see what's going on in your sector. It's not difficult to see what your worth is in the market. All of those things are quite easy to do. And you can just spend 5 minutes a day jumping on and just learning. And that's like this, everyone talks about continuous learning, growth mindset, all this kind of stuff. Sounds cheesy, sounds corny, but it's massively true. And let me give you one example. A friend of mine, and I've shared this example before, but for those that haven't seen it or heard the story before, a friend of mine was going for a big job, and they did a lot of video interviews. They got they got to this like final round, and it was like 2 people, and they said like, you're one of 2, and they invited them into the office. So they went into the office, and this office was quite old school, and he had to write in the book that, his name, who he was coming to see, what time, and stuff like that. He was given 2 times. He took the second time. He went in, he was writing in, signing himself in, and the person above, he was seeing the same person he was seeing the time before. It was quite clear that was the other candidate. So he went back to sit down. He took out his iPad, he opened ChatGPT, and he said, these 2 people, so me and this other person, are interviewing for this job. Here's the job description. We're meeting this person. Here's the LinkedIn profile of the interviewer. Give me like the key differences between us, what I should focus on the interview, etc., etc. Now, I'm not saying that's the only reason he nailed it and got the job, but it doesn't hurt to be prepared. Number 2 for me is showcasing your expertise. So if you want to get to your first leadership role, let's say, and you're moving into a place suddenly where these jobs typically aren't advertised. Some people call it the hidden job market. Generally these jobs they're not advertised, and so they're quite difficult sometimes to find. So you need to so if it's a search firm, you need to know me, or you need to be found by me. Or you need to be known or found by another search firm, whoever's doing the search. Or if it's been done internally by, a TA function or by the hiring manager, whoever it might be, again, they need to either know you or find you. And so now suddenly thinking through, well, how do you get known? And what are some of the strategies to put yourself in the best position to be found and stuff? So a few things that you can do, like actionable things. Clearly, number one's LinkedIn, because it's the number one professional job site. It's the number one jobs board. Most people are on there. Not everyone, but generally, I'd say your boss is probably on there, your colleagues on there, your next boss is on there, your client's probably on there. Like, it's a pretty decent place. It's free to use, and you can tailor it, bespoke it, get your AI to ask it to make sure that the LinkedIn Recruiter AI tool powered by GPT will find you. Because again, think of this, right? If it's an internal recruiter or an external recruiter, by and large, most of them will jump on LinkedIn Recruiter to find people for their long list of candidates that they want to approach for a job. So you want to be found by them. So you get the phone call if you don't know them already. And so bearing in mind, it's suddenly moved from like the human, like putting in the keywords and up pops like a list, and they're going through contacting and stuff, to the AI like doing all of that. So you need to really make sure that you have all the keywords in your LinkedIn profile. So the LinkedIn AI will find you, it will come up high in someone's list, and then you'll get contacted. It's really important. Otherwise, you're just not going to get found. So that's one thing. Secondly is go and connect with people in your space, people that you might want to work with. Make sure you've been really good at like staying in touch with ex-colleagues, with clients, just everyone, right? Like, this is professional networking. There's like a gray area between like business friends and like friends and contacts and all this kind of stuff. Like, for me, it's just so great to collect friends, but just like stay in touch with people and be there for them and all of that kind of stuff. And nowadays it's really easy to stay in touch because you've got like all these social media platforms, so no excuse. So make sure that you're doing that, because a lot of opportunities will come through that. I had a great quote over Christmas. It's not mine, unfortunately, but it goes something like, "Opportunity dances for those already on the dance floor." Great quote. And it's true. So the point is like be in the game, like connect with people, comment on people's content, like people's content, like spend like 5 minutes a day with a cup of coffee, like 5 people's posts, comment on 5 people's posts, connect with 5 people, message 5 mates, try and get some, some catch ups and stuff. Even if you're deep into a role and you're really, really happy, it's worth doing. Like, it's so good to do, and it gives you, and it makes you visible. There was a guy I spoke to the other day, and he called me up and he was like, "I can't believe that, my colleague got the phone call for this big leadership role in a competitor firm, and they got the job, and I'm way better than them, and it's like it's just graceful. I can't believe it." And I'm like, they don't, if no one knows you and you're hiding in the corner, and you're not being active, you're not going to get the call. Number 3. This links a little to what I've spoken about, but I wanted to overemphasize this, and this is networking. Authentically. Networking is not selling. The amount of messages I get. I got a message from a friend the other day. I'll say a friend, like, I knew this guy like when I was 16, and he just sent me a message over Christmas, and he's like, "Lewis, looking for a new job. When can we speak?" And I'm like, "Come on, mate, like, at least pretend you care how I am. Hope you're doing well, whatever." So my point is, like, just don't wait until you really need people to network, right? Because it's not really networking. What you're often doing is just trying to, it feels salesy. It doesn't feel authentic, right? It's like you want something. Now, I've got nothing wrong with that, right? But it's very different when you're making an effort with people to stay in touch, not because you want something, just because, right? You're there for people and you're doing it regularly. Then it's a very different conversation, because then it's like, "Hey mate, I really need your help." "No problem. How can I help?" And the world works with the reciprocity. People like doing things for people that do things for them. It feels good. People want to help people. But sometimes there's this line of like, if it comes across as like disingenuous, not authentic, salesy, you're just taking, you're not there for people when they need you, you'll find people won't be there for you, I think. So when you're networking for this kind of context, in that, maybe you need work, you're looking for a new job, it's around careers and stuff like that. There's a lot of value in like having like integrating this networking just into your game, like all the whole time. Like, don't just wait. Don't be like, oh, I'm so busy. I don't really need to reach out to folks. And, it's so valuable. It's like, think of it as just like, long-term investing. It's like in relationships, in people, and it helps just for everything. And it's way easier than wandering into that networking event with a few business cards, with the goal of handing out a couple. And, it's like going up to someone at a bar. Yeah, it's like so difficult, right? A few things that you can do, right? And then there's two things now, right? Remember, it's online and offline, right? And it doesn't matter if you're introvert or extrovert, right? Like, no excuse. Let's say offline for a second, right? I'm going to start with offline because everyone speaks about online. I spoke about that a lot. Offline's interesting because we all like have experiences in our lives, right? Like, we're doing things, whether it's like where we meet people. So school, if you go to uni, jobs, you go to the gym, whatever it is, right? We're all like doing things where we meet people. And so for me, networking is really like building a community for myself, like community of people that know me and that I know them and that I have shared interests with. Because if you have shared interests with people, then you've got something in common, and that's kind of the start of a friendship. But build this community and build a network, and so good friends, but also just peripheral people, and then through work as well. Like, you work with people, you do business with people, you work with clients, whatever it is, but you're just interacting with humans like all the time, and you can lean in. And you can choose to like bring them into your community and your network. Some people choose to lean out. They like to keep that stuff super separate. For me, it's just like I integrate everything, work-life integration. And so I don't like separate, a personal friend from a work friend or this and that. You just, it's all like community for me. And over the years, I spend time with people I like. I invest time. The job I do, obviously I'm like kind of over index on networking and building community. It's clearly something that I love and I get a lot of energy from. But we can all do it. And it means investing time, and you can do that offline, right? Then you've got the online stuff, right? So as well as this offline, you've got online. And again, LinkedIn's a great place to start because it's a professional networking site. And most people build their professional network on LinkedIn, I would say. So however you like to do it, doesn't really matter, but do all of it. Make sure you're staying in touch with like old friends, make sure you're staying in touch with like all these business contacts through LinkedIn. There's a lot of tools that we can all use to stay in touch with people. And these tools are social media platforms. So it's like social gives it away. But it's all about staying in touch and interacting with people and humans, obviously on like a digital thing, but it's great, because you can stay in touch with people and you might not get a chance to see some folks for a year or two, or maybe they like live in a completely different part of the world. Go really hard on leveraging social platforms to stay in touch with all these people that you meet over time. And also, when you can, take time to go meet people, coffee, lunch, like kind of get yourself out and go and meet someone on whatever, just like go out and do things with people. And there's a lot of value in that. And then on a professional level, like go out, meet your old boss for coffee, go meet your old colleague. Maybe you worked with someone like 10 years ago. Stay in touch, and you never quite know. And that for me is networking. And then at some point, in the context of, let's say you're hiring for your team, you're going to have a network of people to call on off the bat, and they like you, and people work with people that they like and they trust and so forth. That's amazing. And then if you're on the other side of the coin and you're like, you're trying to get your first leadership role, you need a job, you need some career advice, you're going to have friends to call on, which is way different from messaging someone and saying, oh, sorry, I've not spoken to you in 20 years. Hope you don't mind me contacting you. Got a job. So if you do those things, you give yourself a really good opportunity to find jobs and opportunities. And if I connect the first two things, so even if you're entering the workforce, these things I've just mentioned still hold true for you too. Like, build your profile, network with people in the space that you're operating in. You could go even a bit broader, because the one thing I'd add is you might want to go, so like find people that are doing the job that you want to do, see if they will be your mentor, build a personal board of directors of people around you, things like that. So these are some things that you can do to put yourself in a position to find opportunities, job opportunities. And if you do those things, you'll give yourself a good chance.